Well, now that we're into a new year, it's not just a good time to look at your personal finances. It's also a good time to look at the big picture in terms of the stock market and other big, I guess for lack of a better word, maybe macroeconomic forces. I don't know if I'm using that word
Why not?
right. I'm trying to sound smart for the real smart guy in the room, Paul Schatz from Heritage Capital. Good to see you again, buddy.
See you, buddy.
Hey, glad to have you here. Boy, 2023 finished with the stock market doing pretty well. What do you think we're going to, first of all, why, and what do you think we're going to see this year?
So a year ago, I sat here and I said, not since Germany invaded Poland in 1939 has a pre-election year been down.
Yeah.
They're the best years of a president's four-year cycle. So last year, 2023, was a phenomenal year. Market was up, depending on which index, 18 to 30-something%. Really good year. Yeah. Because everyone began the year in their bunkers buying bottled water and Spam.
Yep.
So we were despondent, we were fearful, we were terrified a year ago. Today, not so much. We got some giddiness, some froth. People are a little beating their chest, bragging a little bit. So that's why I think this is a very different year than last year in that the first half, we're going to see some bumps and bruises along the way. If you were flying from here to California, I'd say from here to the Ohio Valley, seatbelt on, don't stand up.
Okay.
Second half of the flight, walk around the cabin, have a drink, have some food, you'll be fine. I think the year ends up 11 to 15% when all is said and done. So I think we're going to make money and people will be happy in 11 and a half months. But how we get there, very different from last year.
It's an election year. Does that make any difference?
It is an election year. So here's what you can expect. The media is going to be, they're already obsessed, but the financial media will continue to be completely obsessed about the election. I love Biden, I hate Biden, I love Trump, I hate Trump. It's all irrelevant for investors. And I say this every 4 years. Please, if you're an investor, ignore this until Halloween. The elections have no bearing on the markets until you get to Halloween.
And what happens after Halloween?
So Halloween, so the polls and the surveys tighten up a lot. You get a better idea. Congress is always still up in the air until really election day.
Yes.
But people will fret a little bit right before the election. Totally normal. But in between now and then, it just doesn't matter. So I start banging my silverware on the table.
Doesn't that usually even out? Any sort of bumps due to uncertainty and people getting scared, that evens out after the election?
It does, because usually you have, regardless of who wins, you have a post-election rally because it's that sigh of relief that we finally have certainty. Markets can't stand uncertainty. Certainty, regardless of the outcome, is okay.
Okay, let's talk about the Fed. There's been all this talk for years. Can they do this sort of soft landing without causing a huge recession? Still don't see any disasters yet. Rate cuts are coming.
Tim, I'm no fan of the Fed. Never have been. I'm hyper acutely critical. Pick your adjective.
You had said a long time ago they should have started raising rates a long time before
2020. They should have started raising rates. It was clear the genie was out of the bottle. Look, I have to give them some credit. Rates went up like this, 5 full percentage points. They haven't torpedoed the economy yet. So one, it's an election year. People talk about the Fed being political. They're allowed to vote, but I've never viewed them as being political. I don't care what people say about their comments, but the Fed, their action has always been as the data suggests. I will say this. The market is expecting the Federal Reserve to cut rates 7 times.
Yes.
I do not. I'll take the under. If they cut 7 times, we're going to have an economic catastrophe this year, which I don't see happening.
Well, the idea, my understanding was they were going to try to get the inflation down to the target 2% year over year. We're close, but we're not there yet. I think it's 3.1%.
You will not get to 2% inflation until you're inside of the next recession. They've done a really good job to get it between 3 and 4. I said this a few months ago on my blog. I think it kind of troughs between 3 and 4, bounces up, pulls back, but I think 3 is the new 2 for the time being. You have to, so people root for like real estate markets to get better and rates to come down. Be careful, because in order for that to happen, in order for mortgage rates to go down and interest rates and credit card rates and auto rates, you have to get into a recession. I never root for a recession. I mean, that everybody hurts during that.
Yes, to some degree they're inevitable. It doesn't mean you have to like them or root for them. Guess what? We're already out of time. I know we had like 5 other things we had to get to. Can you give me one sentence, 401ks, what people need to do?
401ks, rebalance. If your stocks are up 20-something% last year, bonds are only up 2%, they're out of whack. Please go in and rebalance. Don't sit back and do nothing. And surprise, the Yukon men win the national championship back-to-back, first time since Florida did it in 2007.
Okay, I want you in my office pool then.
There we
He's got
go.
the Husky tie on. Yes, I know. Paul Schatz.
Thanks for having me.